Fish have several valuable uses in Abiotic Factor, but fishing is somewhat tedious. Fish traps could be a way to get around that, but by themselves they aren't that great. So I pulled together as much other tech as I could to improve and automate the fish trap process, and I found that there's actually a lot you can do to make it better. So let's break this down. There's two critical but not obvious things to know about how fish traps work I'll cover in a minute, but first let me go through the basics. Fish traps are unlocked at level 3 fishing, which is pretty easy to get to. But the trickier bit is the crafting cost because they take a lot of desk phones. If you've seen my other video about farm locations, you'll know that Flat Hill is a decent place to farm desk phones and other items. After you've crafted a trap, you'll need some bait. Baits are unlocked by manually fishing that specific fish. I personally use the Abiotic Factor wiki to find out what fish is in what location to unlock their bait. I like to use this Anafish bait as both the wheat and the bioscrap are easily farmable. When you have the trap and the bait, just put your trap into any water and load it up. It will eventually catch a fish. If you want to use multiple, keep an eye on this yellow radius, as traps won't work if they're too close to other traps. But now for the really important part. Fish traps do seem to occasionally trigger at random, but they primarily seem to trigger exactly at midnight. More importantly, they won't work if they're not loaded in, so you need to be roughly in the same area as the fish traps. So if you're farming fish traps away from your base, be sure to go to that location just before midnight to trigger the traps when the clock ticks over. Then after the traps trigger, you need to go collect the fish. While you can load a stack of bait into the trap, it only holds one fish, so you have to clear each trap to reset it to catch more fish. But I saw this mind-blowing advice on Reddit. You can use the database terminal to grab fish from all nearby traps. So I use the terminal to grab all the fish, and in my particular case I want these fish for two reasons. The first is that when I butcher the fish in this particular location, I get Transcendium. The second is I can easily cook the fish to level up my cooking skill. In my tier list video about traits, I talk about how good Hobbyist Chef is because cooking skill is really useful, but I don't have that trait myself, so I have a long way to go to level up cooking. I do have a Carson family cookbook though, which does grant 50% extra XP. So then I quickly cook up the fish for XP, and then use the distribution pad to put everything away except the cooked fish. You can of course eat the fish, or you can drop the cooked fish in this machine here and automatically turn it into bioscrap. But you don't get crafting XP for it, and salvaging it is pretty easy, so I tend to just do that. Then that bioscrap can be used to make more bait. And if you noticed, I'm also using the void chest for storing Anaverse wheat. The void chest has the same inventory no matter which one you access, so I can harvest wheat and drop it in the chest for easy access later on. One thing I really wish would work is distribution pads on fish traps, but unfortunately it won't automatically send bait to the traps, so you'll have to do that manually. And one final note, you do have to repair the traps every 3 catches because they'll break on the 4th catch, which is a bit of a pain, but certainly better than going to the trap every catch. I've set up a combination of hard light bridges and regular wooden bridges to make it easier to get to all 10 of my traps. Let me know how you would change or add to this setup, or share other neat systems you built in Abiotic Factor. Of course, subscribe if you want more, and thank you for watching.